Rotate 1, 2, 3 automates the rotation creation process so that you won't spend hours trying to find the optimum lineup for your team. Let's get started. Once you've created an account for yourself, you'll enter this page called Game Plans. I've got several plans already here, but let's start with a new one. So I'll click on New Game Plan. Here you'll see a series of standard formations 6-2, 5-1, 4-2, and different orders. In our case, let's use a standard 5-1 where the middle blocker follows the outside hitter, and let's call this 5-1 first game plan. And our description will be this is our first time. We'll click OK. And now we're on the roster page. Here you'll enter the players on your team. Let's start out with our first player. In this case, her name is Beth. Her initials are BE. Second is Grace. Initials are GR. We'll continue through until we've completed our roster. Now that I've finished entering my roster, I can go to the Positions tab, and here you'll see the 5-1 formation with the setter at right back and our two middle blockers and our outside hitters in the opposite. Now let's create our first lineup, and we'll just drag our players in place. So Beth will be our outside. Grace is our setter. Brenna is another outside. Denise is a middle blocker. Haley is the other middle blocker. And Michelle will play opposite. Okay. Now at this point, we can go to our Formations tab to see how it looks. And already, we've generated the rotation wheel with all the player numbers in all 6 rotations, 1 through 6 here. Next, let's click on Serve. You can see the rotations for serve, and here we have the ability to place our outside hitter in the back row playing left or in the middle, as well as the assumption in the front row outside hitters will play left, middle blockers will be in the middle, and the setter or the opposite will be right. So let's click on this one. You can see all the players are ready to move to the next position. Our servers are outside the court here, and we can make adjustments at any time by moving the players around if we want to. And if we want to have our outside player playing middle, just click on this and they'll switch everything around here. Let's next go to our defensive position. This is our base position. And again, we're exactly in our rotational order, but we want to switch this around. In this case, let's go with outside hitter in the back left position at all times. Finally, let's go to our receive position. And this is probably the most important rotation that we will set up since we want to place our best receivers in the critical spots. We have 3 options here, 3-person, 4-person, and 5. Let's try 3. This is a fairly standard formation where the outside hitters are passing along with the libero. Now here, the middle blocker is still in, and we'll switch this in a moment. Let's try 4-person, okay, and the old school 5-person W receive. All right, let's go back to 3-person again, and let's add the libero. We'll go to Positions and click on Libero, and we'll place, Michaela will play middle, substitute with the middle blockers. In addition, let's add some other people, a defensive specialist, so let's put in Christina for Beth. And she'll go back and go in at serve because she's a very good server. And then finally, let's put in a serve specialist for one of our middles. We'll put in Izzy, and she'll go in for Haley. Right? So now that we've made these changes, let's go back to formations and see what happens. Okay, so now we have the libero substituting for the middle blocker at all times. Okay? And then we have our serve specialist coming in and out, as well as our defensive specialist substituting the back row. In fact, let's take a quick look in our summary page, which gives us everything at one shot. And so you'll see here the rotation wheel to defensive base and the receive formations from rotation 1 all the way down to 6. And you can see on the side the substitutions that are occurring. Number 2 is swapping back in the front row for the defensive specialist. And down here, you'll see that the libero is going, the middle blocker, number 9, is going in for libero. The serve specialist is going in for the middle blocker. And then at receive, the serve specialist is leaving, middle blocker is coming back in, and the libero is swapping for her. Okay, so now let's go back to formations and look at the setup here. Now, you can customize this any way you want to at any time. For example, with my team, sometimes we have problems when the setter's back here as serves get pushed into zone 1. So we want to move our outside hitter up and our setter as well. And if I try to push the setter too far up, we'll get this red line which says that we're going to be overlapping, so this setter cannot go past that outside hitter. And that's our rotation assistant telling us where we can place our players. Next, let me move the libero over and the outside hitter over, and then I'm going to pull my opposite back to help out with the passing. If I go too far, again, I'll get a message. In fact, if I go this way, I'll try to cross over the middle blocker, and I can't go that way either. So the rotation assistant tells us at all time about what's a legal rotation to be in. It works kind of like a spelling checker and is there monitoring our actions to make sure that we don't place anybody out of rotation. So now that we have this set up, we can save this plan and reuse it. In addition, we can also create templates of this, and let's just say this is our second version, and we'll actually use the same setup, except we will swap out some players. So we can always go back to our positions and say, we're going to take out Denise and Haley, and we're going to replace her with Rebecca and with Vanessa. And then we'll use another setter in this case, and we'll bring in Franny to set. All right, so now we have a new set of players, and then if we go to our any of our pages now, the substitutes are in place and they've been replaced in the system. So now you can see that the setter is number 14 instead of number 3, okay? And the middle blockers have changed as well. Number 11 is in here. So instantly, using the same template as before, we can actually swap out players and preserve our rotations, and it takes very little time to create new rotations and to test ones that will optimize your team. So Rotate 1, 2, 3 really saves you a lot of time and lets you focus on the things that matter, which is trying to find the optimal setup for your team. Rotate 1 through 3 is available for trial free, so give us a shot. We'd love to get your feedback. Thanks.